Okay, so it is Wednesday the 13th of May today, and we're reading chapter 10, which is called The White. They said I could take him out in his wheelchair every Sunday so long as I didn't tire him, so long as he was back by supper. As Bertie said, it was just like our Sundays had been when we were little. There was only one place we could go to, a small village only a mile away. There wasn't much left of the village, a few streets of battered houses, a church with its steeple broken off halfway up, and a cafe in the square, thankfully still intact. I would push him in his chair some of the way, and he would hobble along with his stick when he felt strong enough. Mostly we would sit in the cafe and talk, or walk along the river and talk. We had so many years to catch up on. He hadn't written, he told me, because he thought that each day at the front might be his last, that he might be dead by sunset. So many of his friends were dead. Sooner or later it had to be his turn. He wanted me to forget him, so that I wouldn't know when he was killed, so that I wouldn't be hurt. What you don't know, you don't grieve over, he said. He had never imagined that he would survive, that he would ever see me again. It was on one of our Sunday outings that I noticed the poster across the street on the wall of what was left of the post office. The colours were faded and the bottom half had been torn away, but at the top the print was quite clear. It was in French, Cirque Merlot, it read, and underneath Le Prince Blanc, white prince, and just discernible a picture of a lion roaring, a white lion. Bertie had seen it too. "It's him," he breathed. "It has to be him." With no help from me, he was out of his wheelchair, stick in hand, limping across the street towards the cafe. The cafe owner was wiping down the tables outside on the pavement. "The circus," Bertie began, pointing back at the poster. He didn't speak much French, so he shouted in English instead. "You know, lions, elephants, clowns." The man looked at him blankly and shrugged, so Bertie started roaring like a lion and clawing the air. I could see the alarmed faces at the window of the cafe, and the man was backing away, shaking his head. I ripped the poster off the wall and brought it over. My French was a little better than Bertie's. The cafe owner understood me. "Ah," he said, smiling with relief. "Monsieur Merlot, le cirque. C'est triste, très triste." And he went on in broken English. "The circus. He is finished. Sad, very sad. The soldiers, you understand, they want beer and wine, and girls maybe. They do not want the circus. No one comes, and so Monsieur Merlot, he have to close the circus. But what can he do with all the animals? He keep them. But the shells come. More and more they come, and his house, how you say it? It is bombarded. Many animals are dead, but Monsieur Merlot he stay. He keep only the elephants, the monkeys, and the lion. The White Prince. Everyone loved the White Prince. The army. They take all the hay for the horses. There is no food for the animals, so Monsieur Merlot, he take his gun, and he have to shoot them. No more circus. Finish. Triste. Très triste." "All of them?" cried Bertie. "He shot all of them?" "No," said the man. "Not all. He keep the White Prince. He could not shoot the White Prince, never. Monsieur Merlot, he bring him from Africa many years ago. Most famous lion in all of France. He loved the lion like a son. That lion, he make Monsieur Merlot a rich man. But he is not rich no more. He lose everything. Now he have nothing, just the White Prince, it is true. I think they die together. Maybe they die already, who knows?" "This Monsieur Merlot," Bertie said. "Where does he live? Where can I find him?" The man pointed out of the village. 7, maybe 8 kilometres, he said. "It is an old house by the river, over the bridge and on the left. Not too far, but maybe Monsieur Merlot he is not there no more. Maybe the house is not no more. Who knows?" And with a last shrug, he turned and went indoors. There were always army lorries rumbling through the village, so it was not at all difficult to hitch a ride. We left the wheelchair behind in the cafe. Bertie said it would only get in his way, that he could manage well enough with his stick. We found the house and mill house just over the bridge where the cafe owner had said it would be. There wasn't much left of it. The barns all around were shell blasted, the ruins blackened by fire. Only the main house still had a roof, but it too had not gone unscathed. One corner of the building had been holed and was partially covered by canvas that flapped in the wind. There was no sign of life. Bertie knocked on the door several times, and there was no answer. The place frightened me. I wanted to leave at once, but Bertie would not hear of it. When he pushed gently at the door, it opened. Everything was dark inside. I did not want to go in, but Bertie took me firmly by the hand. "He's in here," he whispered. "I can smell him." And it was true. There was a smell in the air, pungent and rank, and to me, quite unfamiliar. "Qui est là?" said a voice from the darkness of the room. "Qu'est-ce que vous voulez?" He spoke so quietly that you could hardly hear him over the rush of the river outside. I could just make out a large bed under the window at the far end of the room. A man was lying there, propped up on a pile of cushions. "Monsieur Merlot?" Bertie asked. "Oui?" As we walked forward together, Bertie went on. "I am Bertie Andrews. Many years ago you came to my farm in Africa and you bought a white lion cub. Do you still have him?" As if in answer, the white blanket at the bottom of the bed became a lion, rose from the bed, sprang down and was padding towards us, a terrible rumble in his throat. I froze where I was as the lion came right up to us. "It's all right, Millie, he won't hurt us," said Bertie, putting an arm round me. "We're old friends." Moaning and yowling, the lion rubbed himself up against Bertie so hard that we had to hold on to each other to stop ourselves from falling over. Okay, question 1. Why is Bertie in a wheelchair? Question 2. Why did Bertie begin acting like a lion? On page 87. Question 3. What did the cafe owner say had happened to many of the circus animals? Question 4. What had happened to the circus? And question 5. Why do you think Millie froze when the lion came to them? Those are your sentence stems. Answer in full sentences, please. Okay, well done. So Bertie's in the wheelchair because he's still recovering from the injuries he got during the war. If you can remember, he was shot in the leg, so he's still recovering from that. Okay, Bertie began acting like a lion as he was trying to get the cafe owner to understand what he meant, and he didn't speak very good French, so he was trying to act it out. The cafe owner said that many of the circus animals had been shot as there was not enough food to keep them alive. If you remember, he said that the soldiers had taken the hay for their horses. All right. The circus has finished as the soldiers didn't want to see it. They wanted beer and wine. They didn't want to watch the circus. And I think Millie froze because she was scared of the lion. He had a terrible rumble in his throat, which may have scared her, especially if you're not used to being around lions because they're very big. Okay, so your 3 brain power questions are 6. Why do you think Bertie said that he didn't need his wheelchair anymore? Use your inference skills and page 91 to help you. Okay. Millie said that the house scared her and that she didn't want to go in. Why do you think that is? Use the text on page 91 and 92 to support your answer. And how do you think the lion felt when he was reunited with Bertie? Which part of the text gives you this impression? Pause this for a minute, have a go at answering those 3 questions and pop your answers for me. Okay, good job. So, why do you think Bertie said he didn't need his wheelchair anymore? Let me get the pen to identify where it was. Okay, we left the wheelchair behind in the cafe. Bertie said it would only get in the way. So I think Bertie said he didn't need... That's not his stick, that should say wheelchair, sorry guys. I think Bertie said he didn't need... Not been... What's going on here? He didn't need his wheelchair anymore because it would only get in the way and that he could manage well enough with his stick. If you think back to when he was in hospital, okay, he was being wheeled around, he's almost kind of, he didn't really have anything to live for. He was injured, and where you think now Millie's come along and he's also had a glimmer of hope that the white lion might still be alive. He has found that fire in his tummy again. He has found his determination that we saw at the start of the book when he was a child. We have seen that. So I think he's feeling really determined now. Okay. So, question 7. Millie said that the house scared her and that she didn't want to go in. Why do you think that? Okay, so I think the house scared Millie as, well, it says here, the place frightened me. Okay, I wanted to leave at once, but Bertie would not hear of it. Let's have a look. So there was no sign of life. So I think the house scared Millie because, or as, no one was living there. Okay. Everything was dark inside. There was a smell in the air. An unfamiliar smell. And you know that if you go somewhere and something's unfamiliar, if it's a new place or you're not familiar with your surrounding, it makes you feel quite uncomfortable. Okay, so you could use all of that underlined vocabulary, all of those underlined phrases to describe the house. Okay. And question 8, how do you think the lion felt when he was reunited with Bertie? Which part of the text gives you that impression? Okay, so you've got Bertie put his arm around Millie. So moaning and yowling, the lion rubbed himself up against Bertie. Okay, didn't just rub himself up against him gently. He rubbed him so hard that they had to hold each other to stop themselves from falling over. Bertie and Millie did. Okay, so that is almost, that little bit there, that little bit of text there, is almost like the lion and Bertie are giving each other a hug. Okay, so think about how that felt. It must have felt brilliant. Okay, or it must have felt great when he was reunited with Bertie. Okay, I think this because in the text it says he went and rubbed himself up against Bertie as if he was giving him a big hug. Okay, send your answers over, email them over if you can, guys, for us to see. Thank you.
Hi guys, welcome back. We're going to mark through yesterday's Do It and Secure It before moving on to today's learning. Okay, so you were looking at taking time to the minute, and we focused yesterday on minutes to the hour. So what I'll do is I will write time underneath each one, and I want you to mark it. And remember, tick if it's right, put a dot if it's not. If you realise that you've misunderstood something and you realise what it is, remember, guys, just pause it. See if you can, if you want to check the rest of your answers before marking them. It's whatever works best for you. Okay, so number 1, it's very nearly 3 o'clock. You can see the hour hand is nearly at the 3, but your minute hand isn't on o'clock yet. If you start at the 12 and count backwards how many minutes until that minute hand gets to o'clock, we've got 1, 2. So that's 2 minutes to 12. So 2 minutes, not to 12, sorry, 2 minutes to 3. And if you were challenging yourself, what I'll do is I'll make this font a bit smaller, and then I can write the digital with it as well. So if you were challenging yourself to also write digital time, it is 2 minutes to 3. That means we're not in 3 o'clock yet, so we're still in the second hour. So it'd be 02, and then that'd be 58. So 2 minutes, because 58 at 2 is 60. Okay, that'd be number 2. Sorry, number 1. Oh gosh. Number 2. Okay, so we're nearly at 6 o'clock. So if you count back from your 12, 5, 10, and then count on from 10, 11, 12, 13. That's 13 minutes to 6. Yeah, because we're nearly at 6 o'clock there. If it was written in digital, we're not at 6 o'clock yet. So we're in the 5th hour, so 05. I can see 45 minutes, so that's 30 down to the 6, 35, 40, 45, 46, 47. Number 3, the hour hand, we're going towards the 2, so it's something to 2. Count from the 12, 5, 10, 15, 20, plus 1, 21 minutes to 2. And if it was in digital time, that means we wouldn't be at 2 o'clock yet, so it would be 1, and then 30, 35, 40 to 39. Again, if you add 39 and there's 21 minutes, it will equal 60, the whole hour. Okay, and then here we've got we've gone past 4 o'clock, so we're going towards the 5 o'clock. It's over halfway. So how many minutes to 5 is it? Going back from the 12 again. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, plus 1 more, so that's 26 minutes to 5. and that would be 04:34. Okay, because it's not quite on the 35 yet, it's 1 minute before it. And then here, so remember guys, I don't expect you all to be writing both of these times for each of them. You might have just written how many minutes to what. That's fine, but if the challenge was there if you wanted it to do the digital time as well. That will help with today's learning. We will be using that today. So don't just ignore it. Okay, so here, how many minutes until 8 o'clock? So we're not at 8 o'clock yet, so that's 5 plus 1 more, so that's 6 minutes to 8. Which means we're in the 7th hour, and 30 is half past, that's 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 54. We're going to know all of our number bonds to 60 soon. And the last one, how many minutes until it's 12 o'clock? Because our hour hand is near the 12. We've got 5, so it's 9 minutes. So it's very nearly 10 minutes, but it's 1 less than 10. Okay, so that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes. So 9 minutes to 12, which would mean it's 11:51. Okay, well done if you got those, and well done if you challenge yourself as well to have a go at the digital times too. That will really, really help you with today's learning. Okay, so yesterday's Secure It then. Let me just get the bits, get that clock that we used. I'm stuck on that one, but it's not on this one. There we go. Okay, so Gary says that if the time is 12 minutes to 3, then the minute hand will be between the 2 and the 3. Okay, so if it's 10 minutes to 3, so firstly, you should not agree with Gary. Gary is incorrect. But do you know why he's incorrect? Can you explain where it would be? And perhaps you've had a go at explaining why he might have thought that. So what I'm going to do is on my clock, I'm just going to put where that hour hand would have been. So 12 minutes to 3. So it's coming up to 3 o'clock. So I'm just going to put my hour hand would be there. Okay, now my minute hand, it says that it is 12 minutes to 3. So that means it's 12 minutes until it gets to o'clock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count backwards from there. 5, 10, and then 11, 12. So the minute hand would actually be between the 9 and the 10. Okay, that's where minute hand would be. Now, Gary thought that the minute hand would be between the 2 and the 3. Okay, so your answer, now you didn't have to draw this, you might have drawn it to explain it, that's absolutely fine. But hopefully your answer is something like, no, I do not agree with Gary because the minute hand would represent 12 minutes until 3 o'clock, so it would be between the 9 and the 10. You might have also explained why he thought it might be between the 2 and the 3. Gary has he's got mixed up because I think he thought it was 12 minutes past. So his minute hand, he's gone 10, 11, 12. So if it's 12 minutes past, it would be between the 2 and the 3. Has got mixed up between minutes to and minutes past. He's thinking of 12 minutes past. Okay, so I mean, I'm not expecting to have all of that as your answer word for word, but something along the lines of, so if you've said that no, you don't agree, then you get a mark for that. If you've explained that it should be between the 9 and the 10, you get a mark for that. If you've also said he might have just got mixed up thinking it was 12 minutes past, and that's why he thought it was between the 2 and the 3, then you get another mark for that. So a possibility of getting 3 marks there. Well done if you got it. Okay, so here is today's date. And hello, we're going to be looking at using AM and PM on digital clocks. Okay, so pause it now and write that down for me. Okay, Fabulous. I paused there because I suddenly thought I wasn't recording and I couldn't see it, but it is recording, so it's fine. Okay then, so we will be using digital clocks. We have had a little look at that, so you've been aware of it yesterday and the day before. So this won't be entirely new, and you may recognise AM and PM. Okay, now I'm just going to explain it hopefully quickly and simply. AM means before midday. Okay, so it's AM is morning. Okay, anything from midnight up until midday. Okay, and PM is anything after midday. All right, now they stand for something in a different language, but I don't want to confuse you with those. But yes, so AM is before midday, so morning time, and PM is after midday. All right, I'm going to write it there so you've got it if you need to come back to it later in the video. Before midday, that's before 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and then PM is after midday, so you could almost think post midday. Okay, so don't get confused that AM is after midday because it's A. So in fact, you know what? I'm going to put post because post means after, post midday. Okie dokie. If you want to do a little bit of extra work, you can have a little go at researching what AM and PM stand for if you like. I don't want to confuse you just yet with that. Okie dokie. So I've got a clock here, and underneath I have got 3 different times. So just as a little check, what is the time that is being shown? Okay, is it 12:04? So remember, when we're doing digital time, we have the hour first and then minutes past. Okay, minutes past that. So when we're using digital time, it's always minutes past. Okay, the minutes are how many minutes after o'clock is it? So it's that hour plus how many minutes. So that one is saying it's 12 o'clock plus 4 minutes, so 4 minutes past 12. This one is saying it's 4 o'clock, we're in the 4th hour, and there's been no minutes passed. Okay, and this one's saying we're in the 4th hour. Oh, that one should have a 0 in front of it, shouldn't it? Ooh. And this one here is saying it's in the 4th hour, but it's 12 minutes past. Okay, so which one of these represents the clock? Hopefully you said this one. Okay, now I've put these ones here to try and trick you because that has 12 and 4. We've got a 4 there, we've got a 12 there, and this one's got a 4. Okay, and a 12. Now it's 4 o'clock, that's the hour, because that's our shorter hand, so that's what needs to come first, remember? Okay, so it can't be that one. Now, you might get confused between that one and this one. Okay, now our minute hand, it's on the 12, yes, but remember, this is representing our minutes. Okay, how many minutes pass? If it's o'clock, that means it's 0 minutes. 0 mins. Okay. 0 minutes. That's why it is 040400. Okay. So now have a look at this one. Okay. So have a look at the clock. What time is being shown there? Look at your hour hand, your shorter hand. Where is it? On the 8. Your minute hand. Where is that? So the time is 8 o'clock. Which one of these underneath represents 8 o'clock in digital time? Okay, try to trick you again. Can you notice that there's 8 and a 12 in almost all of these numbers, apart from the correct one, which is this one. Remember, o'clock, that means that's where the minutes start, 0 minutes past. Okay, so whenever it's an o'clock, it's 0, 0. Okay, this one then. Here we've got, look where your hour hand is, okay, and now look at your minute hands. How many minutes pass? So if you just think about the time, what would you normally say? Hopefully you'd say it is 1/4 past, okay, perfect. And we are in the 8th hour, but how many minutes is a quarter? 5, 10, 15, okay, so it's 8:15. this one here. All right, 8:15. Now let me just check I have got the right things here for you. Okay, so now for this one, in fact, I think I'm going to leave that one. We're going to focus on that one. Let me check. Yeah, no, we'll do that. We'll do this one. Sorry, ignore me. Right, at the moment then, have a little look at the hour that we're in. So our hour hand is in between 4 and 5, which means we're in the 4th hour, okay? And it's coming up to 5 o'clock. So normally we would say it is quarter to 5. We're coming up to 5 o'clock, 15 minutes until 5 o'clock. When we're writing that digitally, we talk about the hour that we are in, which is the 4th hour. So it's not that one. I've tried to trick you there with the minute hands, if in case you've got the minute hands and the hour hand mixed up. Okay. Now this one says 4:09. Now just because our minute hand is pointing to that number 9, that doesn't tell us it's 9 minutes past. Okay, 9 minutes past would be here. All right, and it's not that. When you're using digital time, we write the hour first. Okay, so we're in the 4th hour. And then how many minutes past o'clock is it? How many minutes past is it? So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Okay, so it is 4:45, quarter to 5. Okay, now this one, this is the time when we start to get ready for break. Or this is the time I look at the clock and think, oh my goodness, we've not done anything and it's going to be break time soon. Because break time is at 10:30, at 10:30. Which of these represents the clock? Now have a look at your hour hand. We are in the 10th hour. Okay, so our first digit in our digital time needs to be 10, so it can't be this one. Again, I've tried to trick you there by getting your hands mixed up. So if we start from 12, how many minutes past 10 o'clock is it? Have a quick count. Perfect. It's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. It's 10:25. Don't get tricked by these ones where it says 10:05 just because it's pointing to the number 5. Remember, those numbers represent hours. The second part of your digital time is representing the minutes past. Okay. Now, we're going to have a quick look at AM and PM. So what I'm going to do is get rid of all of this and copy that, and then I go here. Okay, so now if this is, in fact, let me change that bit. Is it going to let me twist it like this? Okay, so now it is 10:30. So if this is break time, that means it's in the morning. All right, so that is before midday because midday is 12 o'clock. Okay. In fact, hang on, let me go to that. Right, that is midday. So if we're before 12 o'clock in the afternoon, midday, then it's going to be AM. Okay, so from midnight at night, you have 1 AM, 2 AM, 3 AM, 4 AM, 5 AM, 6 AM might be about the time you wake up, 7 AM, 8 AM when you're getting ready for school, 9 AM when you arrive at school, 10 AM when we're doing maths, 11 AM just after break, and then you have 12 PM, and that's when it changes, and that's midday. All right. Now the reason we do this is so that if it's when we say 1:30, that could be 1:30 in the morning, which means it's when it's dark, when you're fast asleep in bed, an hour and a half after midnight, or it can be 1:30 in the afternoon after lunch. Now, when you look at that time, it's impossible to know whether it's in the morning or at night time, which is why we use AM or PM. So if it's 1:30 AM, you look at that and you know that's before midday. So that means that can get confusing because you think then if it's at night time it's PM, but it's not. It's in the morning. It says 1:30 AM is an hour and a half after midnight on a new day, so it's 1:30 AM before midday. If it's 1:30 PM, That means it's 1:30 after midday, okay? So it's been an hour and a half after midday, which means it's in the afternoon. So 1:30 would be the time that we'd be in classroom after assembly, not after assembly, sorry, after lunchtime, probably sorting out any issues that have happened over lunchtime usually. Okay, so if I show you, in fact, I'm going to get rid of that one. I don't like those arrows. And that one, and draw my ones on. Okay, so let me think of time to show you. Okay, so this is the time. Now describe it. I want you to tell me whether it's AM or PM. Okay, so the time is 3 o'clock. So if I write that digitally, that's 03, and then o'clock is 00. Now that is 3 o'clock when we get ready, start to get ready for home time, or we start to finish whatever we're doing ready for home time. So is that AM or PM? Hopefully you're saying it's PM because it's in the afternoon. Okay, I don't mind if you're doing capital letters or lowercase letters, I don't mind. So 3 PM, that would be in the afternoon. If it was 3 AM, oops, that would be when you're fast asleep at home, okay? So that would be 3 hours after midnight, okay? After midnight. So that's a way we can remember it, after midnight and post midday, okay? Those are the differences. Now, if you feel ready to have a go at your do it, where is it? Here we go. Then you can do that. So your first one, I'm asking you to sort out these times from the earliest to the latest. Okay, so which of those times do we see first? Which one comes earliest in the day? Then what's going to come next? Then what's going to come after that? And then after that. Okay, so think about, remember PM is post midday, so anything after 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, so anything in the evening or night time before midnight, between midday and midnight is PM. All right, so have a go at doing that. And then you have to read these really carefully, and I want you to have a go at writing the digital clock with the AM or the PM. So we read our books around 9 o'clock in the morning. What is that time going to be on a digital clock? And then tell me AM or PM. Number 3, break time is at 10:30 in the morning. Oh, we've looked at that. Write down the digital time for that. Number 4, home time is at 3:15 in the afternoon. Write down the time for me, AM or PM. Number 5, we have singing practice at 2:45 in the afternoon. Now, think about the digital time. We talked about that earlier. Which hour are you still in for that one? So that might be a little bit of a tricky one. That might trip you up, sorry. Okay, have a go at that then and pause it. And when you're ready, I'll go through the secure it with you. Okie dokie then. So here is your secure it. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger up there for you. Okay, Gary says 8:30 is later than 5 because 8 is a bigger number. Can he be correct? Now, he's not giving you AM or PM there, so think about that. It's not just a kind of yes or no answer. Think about it carefully. All right, so have a go at those, guys. It's a bit of a speedy session there, but I think because we've gone through digital time over the last couple of lessons and I've kind of weaved it in there, I think you'll be fine with it. I think you'll get AM and PM. But if you do get stuck, let me know. We're going to carry on with this tomorrow. Okay, good luck, guys. Bye.
Hi everybody, welcome to your writing lesson for today. We're going to start with our warm-up, and our warm-up we've been looking at adverbial phrases, okay? So today I've got something a little bit different for you because I haven't got complete sentences. I'd like you to spot the adverbials or word phrases that could be used as adverbials from the list that we've got. So remembering that adverbials tell us how, when, where, or how often something happens, have a little look here and try and identify the adverbials. Okay, so suddenly, bright red lipstick, quite carefully, very softly, extremely loudly, unbelievably quickly, trashy television. Okay, from all of those, try and spot the adverbials, and if you're up for a little bit of an extra challenge today, Could you try and use some of those adverbials within your own sentences? Okay, so pause the video, spot the adverbials, try and use them in a sentence if you can, and then come back to me for the answers. Good luck. Okay, hopefully you managed to spot those adverbials. So almost all of them were adverbials. So suddenly, very softly, unbelievably quickly, extremely loudly, quite carefully. But bright red lipstick was not, that's a noun phrase, and trashy television was not, that's a noun phrase as well, because they're describing a thing. Lipstick and television. What you'll also notice that might have been a clue to help you spot these adverbials was lots of adverbials end in ly. Not all of them, but lots of them. So that can be something that can perhaps help you with your adverbials. So if you did the extra challenge, these are some of the things that you might have done. This might be an adverbial you chose. And if you really pushed yourself today, you might have even tried to put that adverbial at the start of your sentence. So I had a go at using so suddenly. The car stopped so suddenly. And then I had a go at using quite carefully, which I want you to put as a fronted adverbial at the start. So I said quite carefully, the boy began to perform his piano ensemble. That means his piece of music on his piano. So I hope you managed to really understand these adverbials now, because we're going to be using them later on in our writing. Okay, so let's have a look at the work that we're going to be using on speech today. So our objective today for this lesson is to write effective dialogue, okay? So we're going to be thinking not only about our lesson on Monday when we looked at how to use dialogue really well, how to use speech really well in our stories by mixing it. We're also going to be thinking about all of the rules that we practiced yesterday, and we're going to use that to help us to write some really effective dialogue today. So we're going to start with a bit of a recap. We're going to have a look at the rules for our speech from yesterday. So this was the sheep in the pen idea that we used yesterday. So we said we're going to hug the words spoken with speech marks. We're going to start the speaker's words with a capital letter. We're going to separate the speech and the reporting clause with a comma or other punctuation mark. We're going to start a new line to show the speaker's changed. And if you were really pushing yourselves yesterday, I said we could use words better than said as well. So let's have a look at this in action. Let's have a little practice. I'd like you to turn the speech bubble into direct speech using the rules to help you. So remember, so here is Harry, and Harry is saying, "Time to fly, Hedwig." So I want you to pause the video now and have a little practice, and then come back to me when you've written that one down in your workbook. Okay, so I'm hoping that you've written down something like "time to fly," said Hedwig, said Harry, Hedwig, said Harry. Hopefully not using the word said, because that would be rubbish. And let's see if you remembered to use all of our rules for direct speech. So let's have a look at the example. "Time to fly, Hedwig," shouted Harry happily. Okay, so we've got the words that he said exactly from the speech bubble. "Time to fly, Hedwig." And if we have a look, if I've used all of the speech rules, did I hug the words spoken with speech marks? Yes, I did, because I've got "time to fly, Hedwig," and I've got speech marks before time and after Hedwig. Brilliant. Did I start the speaker's words with a capital letter? Yes, I did. My T and your T should be a capital T. Did I separate the speech and the reporting clause with a comma or other punctuation mark? Yep. I used an exclamation mark like it did in the speech bubble for me to close that, to lock the gate, remember, so the speech words can't fly out. I can't show you my new line for a new speaker because I'm only doing one of them, but did I try and use a word better than said? Yeah, I tried to use the word shouted. What I'd like you to do is have a look at your sentence that you wrote out. Did you hug the words spoken with speech marks, like I did? Did you start the speaker's words with the capital letter? Have you got that capital T? Did you separate the speech and the reporting clause with punctuation? Did you use that exclamation mark to keep the words in the pen? And did you try and use a word better than said in your sentence as well? So you can have a look at yours and mark your own using those rules to help you. And we're going to be coming back to these rules all the time this week. So if you remember on Monday, we had a little look at how to write dialogue effectively. And we read this passage together. And what we said using this passage was that there's no point having a lot of description and no speech. And there's not the point having lots and lots of speech and then no action or description because nothing happens in our stories. And what we want to write really effective dialogue is a bit of a mixture. So we want some speech, the red bits. We want some description, the green bits. And we want lots and lots of action. We want things to be happening in our story to make them super exciting for people to read. So our blue bits to show us the action in our sentences, in our passage as well. And we're going to be thinking about that today when we start to build our dialogue from what we were doing yesterday into some really effective dialogue to keep in a story. So we're going to have, so to summarise that, speeches are really important because it moves the action forward. What the people say tells us a lot about their characters. A story with no speech isn't engaging because it's not very real. A story with too much speech is not engaging either because nothing happens and we don't know anything about the characters to see the pictures in our heads. So when we're using speech, like we've just said, the most effective way is to weave our speech, our action and our description together because that's what makes it interesting, engaging and moves the story on for our reader. It makes them want to read our story because it seems real life, it seems to bring it all together. So what we're going to do today is we're going to turn a film clip into a piece of dialogue. So you're going to watch this film clip here of when Harry Potter meets Hagrid for the first time. And then you're going to pause the video and make notes about what is happening on a table like this, okay? And then we're going to use that table to help us to write some effective dialogue between Harry and Hagrid, which punctuate the speech, and we're going to mix some action in it as well. So we're going to have a little look at this video first, then we're going to make our notes, and then we're going to have a go at writing some effective dialogue, okay? Okay, so this is over on the video clip, so you can clip this from your work pack, and now we're going to have a little look at just the point where Hagrid meets Harry Potter for the first time. So we're going to have a little look at just this little snippet, and then we're going to go back and try and write our speech. Here we go.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so on your table at this point, hopefully you will have written down, sorry about that, what Hagrid says, and he does that when he storms through the door, okay? So you're going to write down the speech and what happens in the video at the same time. So as an example, that would be, sorry about that, Hagrid said, and then we're looking at what happened at the same point. Well, he was storming through the door or he was putting the door back in its place, okay? And we're going to carry on, and I'd like you to carry on recording that as you go through your video today.
I demand that you leave at once, sir. You are breaking and entering. Dry up, Dursley, you great prune. Mind, I haven't seen you since you was a baby, Harry, but you're a bit more along than I would have expected, particularly round the middle.
I'm not Harry. I am.
Well, of course you are. Got something for you. Afraid I may have sat on it at some point, but I imagine it'll taste fine just the same. Baked it myself, words and all.
Thank you.
It's not.
Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed that. So hopefully as you were watching it, you started to write down what was said and what was happening. And we're going to go back to that video to let you have another look at it when it comes to your turn at writing as well. But we're just going to have a little look at how we turn then what we've got into our dialogue, so that when you come to do it, you've got an example of it as well. So you'll remember on the video that I said, Hagrid said, sorry about that. And what was he doing when that happened? He was breaking down the door. So what I could say, if I'm going to write it out as speech, I could start with the speech. So I'm going to start with my speech marks and my capital letter, keeping those words inside the speech marks. Sorry about that. and I'm going to use an exclamation mark because he was quite loud, and then close my speech marks again. And I'm going to say Hagrid. How did he say that? What word could he use? I don't want to put Hagrid said, Hagrid shouted, Hagrid bellowed, Hagrid rumbled, I think I'm going to use. Sorry about that. Hagrid rumbled, breaking down the door. Okay, so now I've got my speech, how he said it, and my action as well. Okay, then I'm going to have a go at the next one. So Mr. Dursley says, I demand that you leave at once. You are breaking and entering. And he's holding the shotgun tightly. So I might start this time as an alternative with what was happening. So I might start with holding his shotgun tightly. There's our adverb, isn't it? Holding his shotgun tightly, Mr. Dursley, how did he say it? Mr. Dursley said, Mr. Dursley, he didn't whisper, he did tremble a little bit, he did shout a little bit. What could I say? Mr. Dursley, I'm going to go with stuttered because he was a bit worried, and that shows me that. And I'm going to open my speech marks. I demand that you leave at once. You are breaking and entering. And then I need to close my, lock my gate and close my speech marks. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be looking for from your writing today. So going back to our task, just to remind you, we're going to watch this video again now. We've watched the first one, I've given you the example. We're going to watch the video again. We're going to pause the video. I need you to pause the video as you go through and make notes in your table. What's said, what's happening, add to them if you've already started them, or start them if you haven't. And then you're going to use that table of notes to help you to write effective dialogue, just like I've been showing you on our example. So we'll watch the video again, and then I will put this task up so you know what you've got to do today. Okay, so watch carefully and make sure you're filling in your table. Keep pausing the video every time someone says something. Write it down and write down what's happening at the same point. We've just got a 1-minute video clip to look at. Here we go.
Sorry about that. I demand that you leave at once. You are breaking and entering. Dry up, Dursley, you great prune. Mind, I haven't seen you since you was a baby, Harry, but you're a bit more along than I would have expected, particularly round the middle.
I'm not Harry. I am.
Well, of course you are. Got something for you. Afraid I might have sat on it at some point, but I imagine it'll taste fine just the same. Baked it myself, words and all.
Thank you.
Okay, brilliant. So hopefully now you've got your table written. You need to use the notes that you've made when you watch the video clip to help you write your own effective dialogue, remembering all of those rules for direct speech. If you want to, there's my example that I've just done with you that you could use to get you started. And what I'd like you to do is remember all of those rules for speech when you're writing your speech out, remembering to put those speech marks in, capital letters, punctuation marks, and using different words than said. So have a go at writing out your dialogue for today, and then we will come back and add even more to it when we work on it tomorrow. So good luck, everybody. And remember to come back to us for your connected curriculum once you're happy with your dialogue for today. So you can pause the video here and have a go at that activity. Okay, final lesson for today then is a part of your connected curriculum. Remember that you can choose which bits of this you want to do. This is in your work pack where all of the links to the videos and everything work so that you can have a little look at it. We're remembering that we've got this essential video to watch which gives you a bit of an introduction to mountains, volcanoes and earthquakes. And from that we'd like you to choose whether you're going to look at mountains or earthquakes or volcanoes. and have a little go at the different activities. Remembering there's some science experiments in the volcano one. There's an earthquake survival guide as an option in the earthquake one. And there's a diary entry type idea in the mountains one if you want to have a look at those. And with all of those, anything that you've done today, we'd really like to see what you've been up to. So please make sure that you email your teachers using the email addresses at the bottom of the screen, and then we can keep in touch with you and help you with your learning as best we can. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. And I will see you again tomorrow for some more work on our writing and our connected curriculum. See you soon, guys. Bye.